First up, I'm just going to address the episode very shortly because I actually think most of what I would want to talk about in this episode is going to get built upon next week. So just in short, Duel was fun, great it could be the whole episode, did a great job establishing tension, and Alignment Paladin is a badass card. Anything else, we'll talk about next time. But right now, I want to talk about this new ban list because this might be the craziest Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list we've gotten in a long time. First up, the things that got unbanned, which are now at 3, because the stuff that's crazy, I think, is at the end of the list. Unbanned is Chaos Sorcerer, Legendary 6 Samurai Shien, Spellbook of Fate, and Yugioh Ban. Nothing too uber relevant or could really cause anything big to come back. Chaos Sorcerer, fun little splashable card, but nothing that can really use it. Shien, Spellbook of Fate, Yugioh Ban. Those decks need those cards at 3. But I can't see them with what we've got now in the game, what's coming at them being super OP. But if you want to try and give them a try, they're a bit more playable and fun now and can compete better. I mean, Yugioh Ban makes that deck. So that deck I could see having some more functionality as we go into this new format, as we just randomly got a ban list for the middle of November, which is weird, unusual, and makes no sense. I thought we were just going to wait till January at this point, just start the year out fresh, but they did this. So, continuing on, the only card that is now at 2 is Sir of the Burning Abyss. I love how in this ban list, they just slow Burning Abyss down. You don't need to kill a deck. Even though I hate Burning Abyss, a lot of people like it, and there's no reason to just flat out kill it. If you weaken it and slow it down a bit, you make it more fair and valuable, and I think that really is a good addition for that deck. Going to 1, though, is where things start to get a little weird, namely with putting Reinforcements of the Army at 1. I don't totally understand this. This is the only thing on this ban list that in any way, shape, or form hurts Satellars. You think Teller Knights, again, look, a lot of people think they're not that good, they're not overly powered, and that the whole world was designed for them to win. If you think that, fine. I don't personally think that. But just putting Rhoda to 1 to hurt them really doesn't make any sense. And there's nothing else that I see Rhoda being that uber positive about. I mean, a lot of people think all Searchers should be at 1. As far as Rhoda goes, I think it's good enough to be at 3 for any deck. I just don't... It just feels random that they did it now. If Heroes was the top deck, or if there was other stuff on this ban list to hurt Teller Knights, maybe, but just hitting Rhoda just feels kind of random and out of left field for me, and not the fun kind of out of left field. But continuing on, we have El Shaddoll Fusion at 1. That I like. I hate that card. It is totally unfair that Shadolls just have a free fusion anytime. We'll fusion in the middle of battle phase for OTKs, and we'll just go ham with Construct, which we'll get to in a minute. So putting that card at 1, I think, is a very smart, good move, and I think it ultimately would slow the deck in theory down if it wasn't for what's coming up. So again, I just think that was a fair change. Ritual Beast Ulti Kanahawk is at 1. I know nothing about Ritual Beasts. I've played them once or twice, and the matches usually went so fast that I really couldn't tell what was happening. Rather, I won or lost. So if you know anything about Ritual Beasts and why this card needs to go to 1, please tell me in the comment section below. I'm dying to know. Then Necros got hit a lot, which was great because that deck needs to get hit with the putting of Unicorn and Brio to 1. Brio going to 1 is great because what I hate about Necros is that the whole deck is the hand. And the big problem I have with that is that that's what it took to make Rituals good, and you can clearly tell the logic was, we finally want a Ritual deck to be powerful, so let's just go completely over the top. We'll make it that the deck doesn't have a lot of bad hands, and we'll just make it that every Ritual monster is super powerful, and that the opponent just runs out of ways to fight back. Which is also why I'm glad Unicorn's at 1. I hate this card. I think this is my probably least favorite of the Necros monsters, just because it restricts what the opponent can do. The extra deck is such a vital part of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the thing about Unicorn is it's just high enough that monsters can't deal with it, and you would need your extra deck stuff. And the fact that it restricts how you can play and makes it that your opponent can't fight back as hard, I think is just annoying as hell. Plus the stupid 1 mirror card combo I think is bullshit, so I'm glad to see that go to 1. Then we have Mathematician going to 1. This is sort of along the lines of the Rhoda thing. Yes, I understand that. Shadolls use that to set up. I've even seen Necros use that card. But to me, Mathematician is such a splashable in any deck kind of card. I don't see the need for it to go to 1. Or, I can see the need. It can open up some busted plays for a lot of decks and busted setups. And plus, the drawing thing is annoying. But the thing is that it just feels like a random thing they put on this list just because want to put Mathematician to 1? Let's put Mathematician to 1. Then we have Graph of the Burning Abyss going to 1. Thank God, yes. Like I said with Sir, it's not killing Burning Abyss, but it's slowing them down enough to make them more fair and balanced. Graph is an unfair card. It's too powerful, it's unfair, and I hate it. But the thing is, when you put it at 1, it suddenly makes the deck easier to play or play against, because the thing is, now they're just not getting off all these goddamn special summons, and there is more of a match going on, not just swing with Dante, and then swing with another Dante, and then more Dantes. Dantes for days! That is what's been killed, and that's my point. Next, I'm going to include the next two things. The first card I'm going to talk about that's banned, and the other thing at 1. Cleafort's got nerfed in this. Like, why? Like, why hit Cleafort so bad? Putting Scout to 1, yeah, that's more annoying than Rhoda because it's a continuous once per turn search. And what made Scout annoying was here's the one Scout. You can search it out with Summoner's Art, so you have a better chance of getting, especially when it was at 3, and your scale is complete. And the game is just swing hard and swing big. So I understand the need to put it to 1 a format or two ago before Skill Drain went to 1 and people stopped really getting that interested in Cleats. You see them a lot of times, but I don't think they're as big or as popular as they once were just because of Skill Drain. Maybe if they put Skill Drain to 2 for some god knows why reason, maybe. But putting Scout to 1 now just feels like too little too late. And same thing with banning Towers. Hell, I can understand Scout over Towers. I mean, Towers was a 1-of in most decks. But the thing about Towers is that it's super powerful, it's super OP, but it's not that practical to get out. And most Klee decks, for a lot of the time, just rush with their big-ass monsters and don't even need it. So just, a lot of times, it's just something people put in, more just for the fun of it than anything else. So just banning it outright, going from 3 to 0 like that, I think is insane, and I think it's unnecessary because Klees just aren't that big. Again, if this was 6 or 7 months ago, almost a year ago at this point, maybe, but now I think it's just too much. And then we have the Shruit banning. Great. I hate Necros. I do think it is time for them to go. And Shruit is too unfair. It's too overpowered. It adds the best cards in the Necros deck stand, plus any ritual monster. What's up with that? So banning that, I think it's fair. Was it fine at 1 with the other two things going to 1? Yes, but, you know, if you're going to go for it, go for it. Just kill off Necros. And then we get the weirdest thing on this ban list to me. Banning Construct. Like, again, why did Shaddolls get super nerfed by this? Why is it everything but the World Championship deck got nerfed? Now no one's going to play it. No one's going to play the deck without Construct. I mean, because then what is the deck without it? Construct is just this big beater. It's super strong. But that's just sort of the thing. You can play against it. With El Shaddol Fusion at 1, the OTK with it is dead. Or any sort of OTKs with Shaddolls is kind of gone. So you can play around it with just one construct. You just need to get it out of the way. Even if it can take out your special monsters, you can take it out with Castel, Honor Arc. So to me, banning Construct is just sort of overkill at that point. I know they did it in the OCG, but things are different here. And I just think it's sort of weird that they didn't do it. And before I get into the last thing that's really got me going, I'm actually shocked they didn't ban Ptolemaios, especially with Infinity coming out in the game in January. I mean, I know it's still a few months away, but after they did that banning of the E-Dragons last time, just to stop number 95 from being a thing, which was great because it meant that the game was still just ruled by Necros, I just think it's sort of odd that they wouldn't hit that as a preemptive ban. But hey, we'll see what happens when Infinity comes out. And finally, the thing that I'm most annoyed about, banning Exciton Knight. And I'm going to flat out admit, this is a very selfish reason. I love my Exciton Knight. He has been a staple of mine. Actually, I got him because of Klees. I didn't have one before that just because it was super expensive and I couldn't afford it at the time. But when I got my Exciton Knight, he was a great tech card. You could play him against any deck. He always helped. He always sort of start the game afresh so you can deal with an opponent's annoying board. But he's not impervious. Again, he has a very interesting restriction. And a lot of times people will just chain things to make his effect not go off. He has low attack and defense, so he's easy to go over. And the not taking damage thing afterwards keeps him from being an OTK causer. So why do I think this thing got banned? Pendulums. In that, I've already commented on some other people's ban list videos, and this is what people are telling me, and I think they're right. Pendulums are about to be a big thing with the Magician Pendulums coming out, which I am going to play. And then the Magispectors coming out next week. Can't believe I forgot about that first. And then the Performer Pals just around the corner. I think they banned Exciton Knight because Exciton shits all over that stuff. It's like, here's your pendulum scale. Now it's gone! That is why I got my Exciton Knight after all. I think that was a preemptive ban to just pave the way for that deck, kinds of decks. And I just think it's not it's not fair. To me, it's like the fact that they have to go these crazy bans, like kill off every deck and kill off big solutions, sort of proves that pendulums just aren't that good a mechanic. They're just so situational and so flashy based. So I just don't like the banning of Exciton Knight because it's a card I liked, it's a card anyone could play, and now it's just going to be gone from the game because of some other crap, and I just don't like it. I don't think Exciton was causing a big enough problem on its own to warrant being banned. I just think it's unfair. But, again, everyone thinks differently as I'm learning with the ban list. So in the comment section below, give me your thoughts on the ban list or anything else Yu-Gi-Oh! Related you want to talk about. And as always, click to like and click to subscribe so we can see how this new format goes.